Hello parents and teachers, I'm going to show you how to play a game called Make 10. Today it's good for kindergarten or early first grade. I'm also going to show you how to play a game called Make 15, which is good for late first grade through fourth grade. This is a modified version of a game that I found online, but I have made the gameplay a little bit smoother with a couple different rules and a little bit more fun with a couple different rules. Okay, so first off, for Make 10, you're going to want to remove all of the face cards, okay? And you don't use these for Make 10. So I'm just going to put them right up there. Okay, so here's how you play the game. You have a deck face down right here, and you're going to deal out 9 cards facing up. And you are looking for combinations that when you add them up are equal to 10. So initially you might see that I have 3 2s, which when I add those together equals 6, and that can go with a 4. 6 and 4, that would be equal to 10. So that's called a 4-card combination, okay? And you're gonna count up cards at the end to decide who wins. So it's a good incentive to try and use more than just 2 cards to try and make 10 as a match, okay? Now it would be the person across from me's turn, and they might see this 7 and 3, which they would combine as their make 10 combination. And you keep filling it up, and you go back and forth until there are no more matches possible. There's another version of the game. If you don't have quite as much time, you can do different multiple matches. So for example, I could take this 4 and this 6 together as a make 10. And then I could also take this 7 and this 3 as another make 10 combination. And then an ace is equal to 1, so then I could take an ace and a 9, which would be another one, and a 4 and a 6. And you can see how quickly that really clears up the board. So if you have a little bit less time, you can play that way, where then you would fill in the 9, and then it would be the person across from me's turn. And they would also be able to do multiple matches that make 10. Now, there is a possibility to kind of reach a stalemate in this game. And I'll show you what to do when that happens and what that could possibly look like. So, let's say that you end up with something also another rule. If you see a 10 like that, you can take it, and that counts as a make 10 combination. Okay, let me put out a 6, and then I'll put out another 6. Okay, so at this point, there aren't any combinations that you can put together to make 10, okay? They are all cards bigger than 5. There's only one 5. If there was another 5, you could combine them, but there's nothing you can do at this point. Now, I usually share this rule for once kids are a little bit more used to playing the game, so that they just don't automatically assume that there are no matches that they can do, when in fact there are. So I kind of show this to them later once they start reaching this point. Okay, once you get to this point, then you just add 3 onto this edge right here. Okay, and at this point, then you could combine this 9 and this 1, or just take this 10. So then once I take the 9 and the 1, and let's say I'm doing the multiple matches, I'll take the 10 too. So at this point, it goes back down to a 9-card game. It does not remain a 12-card game. It goes back down to 9. Okay, now I'm going to show you the Make 15 version. Okay, this version, a little bit more complex, a lot more fun. Okay, I usually like to write this down for initial players. Okay, I like to write down that a king is equal to 13, a queen is equal to 12, A jack, not to be confused with a joker, is equal to 11. And sometimes I'll even write down that ace is equal to 1, 2 for beginners and for kids that might not be used to playing with cards so much. Okay. Sometimes I've written this on a lot of my decks of cards with a Sharpie. I'll write the value of these face cards next to them. It doesn't hurt. It helps the gameplay a little bit. Helps smooth it out. Okay, there's really only one additional rule for if you're playing this version of the game, Make 15. If you get to 5 face cards on the board, which can happen quickly if you have kids who are starting to really understand the game, okay, then they're grabbing a lot of these smaller value cards to end up with more points at the end, okay? So then you can end up with a bunch of face cards. Once someone reaches 5 face cards, then let's say it's my turn and this is my board, and I can take all 5 all together, okay? 5 face cards, 5 face card combo, whatever you want to call it, okay? And then I add those to my stack, okay? So that's just a good way to flesh out some of those face cards once you start reaching that point in the game. And I don't think there are any other changes, except for obviously you're trying to make 15 with this version instead of just making 10. So I see this 6 and this 4 that could go together to make 10. And then I have this 2 and 3 which go together to make 5. Put all those together, that's a 4 card combo. And I add that to my stack, okay? Now, when you're counting up points at the end of the game, the player with more cards at the very end of the game is going to be the person who wins the game. So that's with that incentive to try and use smaller cards so that you can make a more complex match, okay, to try and end up with more cards by the end of the game. So kids can take just a 10 for make 10 or just a 5 and a 10 for make 15. But they might want to get more creative with it and try and incorporate some of the aces, 2s, 3s, 4s, smaller cards like that. Anyway, let me know if you figure out any other ways to play, and hope you have fun.